So we'll go up in our file into our import and import to idea, and again we're going to bring in a print report, but this time the print report we're going to bring is our travel report. Okay, and what we've got here is the travel expenses for the organization. So we've got a purpose, and we've got a whole pile of detail lines. We've got a total, we've got other purposes, etc. We can see the personal identification number, the employee class, the date, the amount, the airline miles involved, and whether this was economy or how it was actually being done. So we're going to try and bring all of this lot in. Okay. So we've got all the different information. We need to identify the detail lines. So the first one we're going to pick up is that first detail line, that one with the pin. And that's going to become our standard layer. And to identify that as a standard layer and hold it down, we want to pick up the thing which identifies that line from any other line. You can see we're going to anchor this, so we're needing to pick up a trap, and what we're going to do is we're going to look in and see where the appropriate thing to trap. And the appropriate thing in this particular file would be typically, shall we say, that date. Okay, we can pick anywhere we want and then define what we want to pick it up with. And I'm going to pick it up based on that date. So I'm going to put a slash in for that date. And you can see it's highlighted all of those. It's not highlighted the total line, it's not highlighted the purpose line, it's not highlighted the headings. That's all I want. So I'm happy with that. So now I can start defining the fields. And in looking at this, again, there are various ways of looking at the fields. So what we're going to do, I haven't given you slides on this. We're going to work it out as we work through the example. In looking at it, you can see we have our PIN number. So we'll pick that up. And that's going to standard layer 1, that's going to be a PIN number. We're happy that it's numeric, no decimal places, etc. Then we have our employee class. And our employee class is going to be called employee class is character. We're happy with that. We've got 2 digits, so we're happy with that. Now we're going to move across and pick up our date. And there's our date field. Again, we'll call it date. It says it's numeric. We know it's not a numeric field, it's a date field. And we can tell the mask, this time it's not recognized it, we'll have to tell it what it is. And we can see from the 8T, this thing is going to be day slash month slash year. And we're happy with that. So now we can move on to our amount. Put in our amount. It's a numeric, it's got 2 decimal places, looks reasonable. We'll pick up the next one, which is our town. More space because there may be bigger towns. I might need to give it still more space. Its character, I'm happy with that. There's my airlines, so I'll pick it up there. I'm going to put it in there, airline. Nothing complicated. Its character. Over here we have our air miles. So again, we'll pick up the air miles. And I can bring it down or stretch it out, whatever I want to do with the thing. I don't see anyone more than 10,000 or 99,000 miles. 99,000. Character field. It's not character, it's numeric. But there are no implied decimal places. And the final one for this line, we're going to pick up our travel class, which is in this case economy. It looks like they're all 2-digit, so we can leave that as a 2-digit field. Once again, if we get it wrong. I'm playing around with it here. Class. I'm not really all that interested in, because I've actually put that one in the wrong place. So I need to shift that from 94 down to 93, and I need to leave the width as 2, and then go into that one. I don't particularly want that one, and I don't particularly want that one. So what I can do, I could save it. I could go back in to the layer and edit it. I can pick that up and simply delete it. Now if I delete that, that will cancel the whole layer. So I don't want to delete that. I don't want to remove my field anchors. I can zoom in, I can do all kinds of little things on that layer, go into the detail layer, that one field detail, and delete the field detail. And I appear to be getting stuck on deleting this thing. So I'm looking at it. When in doubt, when it fails, when all else fails, kill it and do it again. Again, I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to pick it up by there. I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to call it date, pin. I'll pick up my employee class, and I'll call it employee class. easiest way to do this is simply to do that. Pick that one up, move it to there, and close that one down. So we've got our dates, which we knew was a date field, and we knew it was day slash month slash year. We've got our amount, which is not quite big enough, so we can stretch that out, and we'll make that amount. It's numeric. It's our town. And our airline. Which is a character field. We're happy with that. Again, I can pick up my air miles. And finally, pick up my class. When I'm happy with that lot, then I can save the layer. Okay. We now want to have another layer which is going to be our purpose. You'll notice I'm not defining the totals because idea we can develop the totals as we go. We don't need to pick them up from the report. We could define that as a separate line, and then we could use idea to verify that that total is in fact correct. Remember, this is coming from a printout. It doesn't necessarily mean that totals are correct. So the next one we're going to pick up is the purpose line. And the purpose we need to identify, and again we'll pick it up with that colon, and we'll pick up the purpose, and we'll call that, funnily enough, purpose. Once again, it's character. Once again, I want to have this picking up the value from the previous record. Now that's all that's on that line, so I'm happy with that, so I'll save that. I also want the date line. And the date line, again, I'll pick it up from there, and I'll lock it with a slash, and then I'll pick up that date. And this is now the report. And it's picked it up and it's recognized it as a date and it's recognized it correctly, and I'm happy with all of that. So I'll save that. Once again, I can verify, and it tells me the width of class doesn't appear to be correct. So I can change that. As you can see, it's too wide. So I can say change that. And say finish. Is that correct? Nope. Change it. Finish. It really doesn't like class. I can also tell it to ignore it. It's my field EC, which is showing a width of 1. Should start there and go for 2. Once again, it's still telling me that that class is wrong because it's telling me it's in the wrong place now. It should be further over. still is trying to tell me that's in the wrong place. So what we've got is we've got an offset which is 92. So I need to go into that layer and edit that layer. So it should be in 95 for 2. And if we're happy with that one, then I'll save that. And it's telling me it's 95 for 2. Change it. And I should be able to go now and preview my database. There's my employee classes, etc. There's my travel class. Now you'll see what's happened. When I edited that, it changed the title. So if I go into that layer again and edit the layer, there's the field, but it changed the title to class 1. I want that to be travel class. And save it. And now if I look and preview my database, I can see it's now travel class. But there's a problem, because that's as it was on the printout. That's not necessarily the way I want it shown when I bring it in on the database. So what I can do is I can go up and change the field order. If I click on the field order button, these are all of my fields. Well, the first thing I want is I want the date. So we'll shift that up to the top. I can move it up by dragging it up, or I can simply say move. Okay. And it's now shot up to the top. Next thing I want is the purpose. And we'll move that one up. By taking it up and take it underneath the date. Okay, and then I'll take the rest as they are. And if I look, preview my database now I've got the report date, I've got the conference, and I've got a whole pile of zeros. I don't want zeros. So there's a problem with my date. There's my problem. Leave blank. So I'm going to go in and edit. And I'm going to go into my report date. I'm going to change it to use it from the previous value, from the previous field. And I'll save it again. If I look at my database now, now we've got them right. Okay, so it's always worthwhile going and viewing your data and making sure that it does have what you think it had. We've got class call pin. Now that came out of here. So if I go into that layer and edit the layer, I've got other fields. I've got call. I don't particularly want call. So I could go into that layer manager and edit that and take it away. Go into the detail, the header layer, and that's where I'm in. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave it as it stands at the moment, and we'll bring it into the database and see what it looks like in the database. So we know from the preview what it looks like. And we know that because we went in there and changed that date, going to go back into my header layer, my base layer rather. And I think that's up in layer 4. That's my base layer. Then I've got my header layer, which is there. If I edit that, that's that. Aha, we've got multiple layers. So if I go in and have a look at my detail layers, we'll go in through the closing that one down. There's my base layer. And that's where we've got these extra fields. So we can remove the extra fields by removing the field anchor. This isn't the line anchor. This is the field anchor, and that's those gone. And we can just check that we've got everything right. That's standard. It's called PIN. Our employee class is correct. It's called employee class. Out is called date. Our amount is correct. It's called amount, etc., etc. Right over to our travelers in the right place. And now, if we save that, it's telling us there are no validation errors in that report. So now I can go and preview the database, and I'm still sitting with the date that's missing and the purpose that's missing. So I need to go into that view. So if I go into the layer manager, and I'll go out of my base layer into my header layer, and it's not letting me edit my header layer. In layer 3, there's my purpose, conference. It's going to use the previous one, so I'm happy with that. If I went into that header layer and said edit that, I can throw that away because I've already got that layer. In layer 4, we've got our date, and our date is shown as the report date. Again, for some reason, it's not giving us that, but it's not telling us it's an error. There are no validation errors in the report. So I need to go back into my layer. I know my base layer is okay. This header layer is the one which seems to be confusing everything. So if I throw that layer away, that layer should not exist. But there it is. So we'll delete it from here. That's correct. We've got it all right. If you preview the database now, and we've got everything back. So it was that one layer that was confusing everything. And to delete the layer, picking the layer up and trying to delete it from this screen will not work. You've got to go into the layer manager and delete it from here. Okay, so we're happy now. We can now go and import the report straight into IDEA. Again, it's looking for the template, and again I'm going to call it travel report. Now I've already got this because I've already done it several times on different courses, so I'll finish that. And there we have all of the information that we wanted. And we've got it in the right order. We've got a report date, our purpose, and then we've got the employee identification numbers, etc. And now we can analyze it and look for people who are traveling on classes that they're not entitled to travel on, or whatever the objective of this particular audit happened to be. Okay, everyone happy? So you can see when you're dealing with a layout, which is a more complicated layout, particularly if you don't have a printout showing the layout, then it can get a bit tough. If you have the layout saying from here to here, numeric, so many decimal places, it makes your life so much easier.